Welcome back to World Crisis Radio, urging you to keep up with the analysis you need to understand the world. Tarpley.net. Tarpley.net. We got a commentary this week from Russia Today about the battles of the intelligence agencies on the eve of the United Nations Security Council vote on the Iranian sanctions, a thing that we'll get to. But primarily, get yourself a copy of Surviving the Cataclysm, your guide to the worst financial crisis in human history. That is absolutely required reading. And I would also recommend, we're now, I think, getting into the terrain. This summer, I feel scandals against Obama coming on, and just about everything that has come out so far is already contained in Barack H. Obama, the unauthorized biography, the various nefarious activities of Obama, which are now coming out in the Blagojevich trial. Most of that is already amply reflected in Barack H. Obama, the unauthorized biography. And while you're getting that, get yourself Obama, the Postmodern Coup, the making of a Manchurian candidate. You'll see that there's a, what can we call it, a knockoff. It's called Obama, the Manchurian President, that comes more than 2 years later. Now, the big story, the world economic depression continues to hit. George Soros says we are now in the second act of the drama, the beginning of the second act of the drama. I think it's a 5-act play, not one of your modern 3-act plays. It's a 5-act play. It's a tragedy, 5 acts. So we're at the beginning of the second wave. So Soros, pessimistic, although, of course, recommending no regulation, please. Deregulate everything. Don't interfere with hedge funds and credit default swaps, even though they're licenses to kill. Helicopter Ben Bernanke, this usual bland pabulum. Helicopter Ben tells the House Budget Committee that the European debt crisis will have only a modest impact on U.S. economic recovery, provided that Wall Street can stabilize. Hey, a big proviso in it. The quote from Helicopter Ben, the economy appears to be on track to continue to expand through this year and the next. What malarkey, what nonsense. Even Helicopter Ben, though, quickly concedes that the expansion is very slow, very anemic, and above all, no jobs. So 15 million Americans unemployed right now. The actual figure is really double that. 15 million, it's really, I think by some counts, 27, 28 million. Why don't we call it a nice round 30 million? And that is the figure that I start from in my emergency recovery program. We need full employment. We'll talk later in the broadcast. All of the social problems in the U.S. are either created or made much worse by persistent, high, structural unemployment, underemployment, and a low-wage economy. These all go together. When you say full employment to some millennial or an Xer, then the question is they don't know what that is. Full employment? What's that? Full employment is a situation where people are valuable and their labor services are eagerly sought by employers who bid against each other to give them wages and benefits to get them working. And this is largely a matter of Federal Reserve interest rate policies over the years, right? People like Greenspan would not allow the economy to approach any kind of full employment, even when that might have been possible in the 80s and 90s at different times, even on a service economy basis with low wages, because once you get close to full employment, then wages begin to rise. This is the secret of the second wave of the New Deal back from 1938 on to 1944-45, is that the wage gains that we're still enjoying today, even though the reactionary Republicans are eager to take them away, are largely due to full employment. But full employment ended in 1945. So you have not seen full employment in the United States for all those years, for those 65 years. We have not had full employment. So Helicopter Ben is telling us in his testimony that we're nowhere near it. Now, We've also got the useful, although tainted by Keynesianism, economist Galbraith. This is now James K. Galbraith writes an interesting, useful article, "The Wolf Pack Stalks Europe." I actually think I may be the person who popularized this phrase, the Wolf Pack, which I put on Russia Today. He has various recommendations for this, which I won't go through. But the idea, of course, is he's in favor of debt restructuring for countries like Greece. I wouldn't do it that way. I would do it through a nice, clean break. Call this my version of the clean break. A debt moratorium, legal, sovereign, orderly, uniform, open, and then you bargain. And you can generally reduce your debt by 1/2 to 2/3, depending on how politically clever and flexible you are. And he says, actually, Galbraith goes back and he says, even Averell Harriman, who's basically a satanic figure in the 40s, 30s, 40s, and 50s. This is Brown Brothers Harriman, of course. This is the you can read all about that in Bush, the Unauthorized Biography. Get it through Tarpley.net. But W. Averell Harriman agrees with Galbraith in 1975 as ex-governor of New York that the bondholders of the state of New York have to take a haircut. Well, the debts of states inside the United States, I think we can handle in a slightly different way. But when it comes to places like Greece, Spain, and Portugal, it's clear what they need. They've got to have a complete halt on interest and principal payments on their foreign financial debt owed by the government. And again, Mexico has done it. Argentina has done it. Brazil has done it. Many, many others. And Costa Rica, small countries, large countries, countries with big militaries, small militaries, Islamic countries, Catholic countries, secular countries, you name it. They've all done it. Mexico, Argentina, and Brazil are still there. They're not in ideal conditions, but this is what is needed. And I think this is one of the failings of the Keynesian school in general, and we probably should pay more attention to them because they do get some attention, is that their advice is weak-kneed, and it is not politically calculated to do what you have to do, and therefore, even in economic terms, it doesn't get it done. So anyway, take a look at The Wolf Pack Stalks Europe by James K. Galbraith. He's probably one of the better of the current Keynesians. And then we've got to look further because some of these hedge fund hyenas are actually on trial in Italy. The Italian magistrates doing a great job once again. We'll be back in a minute.